Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, welcome to another market stream. Happy Friday, everyone. And today, of course, there are a lot of things, a lot of good things, very good things to talk about. Okay. Bitcoin frenzy. There's a whole lot of people, countries, companies feeding this frenzy, and all-time high is coming, guys. So let's talk about everything that's happening and have a good Q&A. All right, let's do it, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Got a new member right off the bat, Jeremy, welcome. And we are starting out the day at 103.5. Now, I put out a video last night that was interesting. Okay. It was a video based on ChatGPT and asking ChatGPT to do some TA. And what it said was pretty bullish. Let's see if it's actually correct. It predicted that if we close today above 104, that if we did that this weekend, would be very good with light volume. We could definitely drive upwards to an all-time high. And it even made some predictions about alts too. So if you didn't watch yesterday's video, you should, because it's completely different. But outside of TA, there are a lot of great things happening. A lot of great things happening. The US market started on, well, it was very green. Now it's kind of mixed, but it was really green. In terms of trade talks, China and US still talking. Says the talks are good, and both sides are waiting for next steps, right? Maybe the two presidents are going to have a phone call and talk to each other. Maybe that's the next step. We don't know. But, you know, the sooner this gets done, the better. So everyone's looking forward to that. That's really the only macro stuff today. But overall, all this tariff stuff, all this, you know, trade talk stuff, this is going to be ongoing for quite some time. I think you guys know that, right? But it does seem like we are making progress. We are moving forward, and that is awesome. What else is awesome is this strategy, or MicroStrategy, aka MicroStrategy. Now, of course, MicroStrategy's own analyst and Saylor both predict that their company will outperform all listed companies in the future and will become the world's most expensive and highest market cap traded company on the planet, going up to $10 trillion because of their Bitcoin holdings and their Bitcoin strategy, right? Now, they of course are going to say this because they believe that they have the best strategy and a foolproof plan for their shareholders. But do others believe this? Well, it does seem like others do. So we know a lot of states are coming out their own Bitcoin reserve, right? 2 states, I believe, I don't know if it's 3, I think it's 2 that officially implemented a Bitcoin reserve, and many others are trying to do so, either getting their governor or trying to get through some kind of thing. But 14 states already report they hold more than $500 million worth of strategy shares already. So even though they may not be able to hold Bitcoin in their reserve yet, they're holding a whole lot of strategy stock already. So that tells you something. A lot of these guys want Bitcoin exposure. They want it. They crave it. And it's not going to stop. So whatever Saylor has done is definitely working. This is the reason why every time he raises money, in order to buy more Bitcoin, he could do it so easily. And it's always oversubscribed. Every time he's like, oh, I want to raise 500 million. I want to raise $1 billion, $2 billion. It's always done it seems like within minutes. You got people throwing money at him. Here's another one. A Saudi central bank acquires 25,000 shares of MicroStrategy, gaining Bitcoin exposure. Again, a lot of these companies or banks can't buy Bitcoin directly, but what they can do is buy strategy shares, which is kind of the next best thing outside of ETFs, right? And some of them can't buy ETFs either. So it's working. It's working. And Saylor could be, considered the next Warren Buffett, just because of his I don't know if passion is the right word, but belief in this one asset class, Bitcoin. And that's amazing. Within the next 10 to 20 years, Bitcoin's market cap is going to be absolutely insane. It's really awesome to think about. And someone has something to say about that. I'm going to show you guys in a little bit. Outside of strategy, one other person and one other company also believes so, and that is Larry Fink of BlackRock. Look at yesterday. We had massive outflows from all these other funds, but massive inflow into one fund alone, BlackRock's. Again, I've been saying this for a while. Until someone can explain to me otherwise, I'm going to go with my theory, which is BlackRock and Larry Fink, they're buying their own ETF in some way or shape or manner. Because, when Fidelity and ARK or Bitwise, on a down day, you get Wall Street, and these fund managers are selling off their ETFs. They have to sell their Bitcoin, right? Grayscale has to sell. Yesterday was actually a pretty bad sell-off day, except BlackRock took in $400 million. So overall, it was a net positive day, $115 million, because of BlackRock alone. So obviously, they believe. Okay, and just like strategy, how many people buy strategy as a Bitcoin play, many people are buying IBIT as a Bitcoin play too. Abu Dhabi's sovereign wealth fund, they bought basically $500 million worth of IBIT. And they probably hold some strategy shares too. Right? So these are, not direct buys of Bitcoin, but the next best thing. And in case of IBIT, it is really good because IBIT or BlackRock is forced to buy Bitcoin, right? So it is directly good for Bitcoin and for strategy too. If you buy strategy stock, what is Saylor going to do? He's going to use that money to buy Bitcoin anyway. So in a nutshell, it's good for Bitcoin too. All right. So these are all good. What else is good? The Central Bank of Russia reported that the best asset, the best performing asset out there by far is Bitcoin. This is from their central bank. And I can't understand all that, but I can understand the S&P 500, the US Treasury bond. They're both in the negative. Bitcoin is the only one there in the positive. And all these other ones, probably companies or, other asset classes, whatever, nothing outperforms Bitcoin. So again, sometimes Bitcoin goes down. Sometimes there's volatility. And there's people in the live chat that's like, why is Bitcoin crashing? It's not crashing. Bitcoin's doing just fine. We're at 104,000. It's doing good. especially when you compare it to all the other asset classes out there, they're not doing so good, right? So even central banks are recognizing that. That is why so many want Bitcoin exposure, because they now know that. And there's no fears like before that, okay, Bitcoin is going to disappear, it's going to be shut down, you know, all this tulip bubble talk, it's all gone. Now the whole world has simply embraced the fact that Bitcoin is here to stay. It's never going to go away. That says a lot. That says a lot. And that is why it is a race to the top. Everyone is accumulating as much as possible. When I say everyone, everyone that understands. Okay, but obviously on the planet, most people do not understand. 99.9% of the population do not understand. Very little people hold Bitcoin still. It seems like everyone does, but very little amount of the population does. So if you hold anything, even 0.1 Bitcoin, which is still impressive now, you hold 0.1 Bitcoin, that's $14,000 for the Bitcoin. Back in the day, 0.1 Bitcoin was like, you know, $1,000. Now 0.1 Bitcoin is worth $14,000. To have a whole Bitcoin is to have $104,000, which is not easy by any measure at all. To be a whole coiner these days is very impressive. Very little amount of people out there can just go buy a single Bitcoin, but you can do so by dollar cost averaging, right? But these big boys I've been talking about, it is a race to the top. That's why Larry Fink is buying so much, why Saylor's buying so much, why all these guys are buying so much. So this company, DDC, is going to adopt a Bitcoin strategy, a Bitcoin reserve, plans on buying 5,000 Bitcoin. That's a lot. Again, people in the know, people that understand, are going to acquire as much as they can. Here's another one. I don't know what this group is, but they are NASDAQ. They're listed on the NASDAQ. They announced an $800 million plan to acquire Bitcoin and the Trump coin. I don't know about why they're doing that to gain the favor of Trump, I guess. But still, you know, they're doing it. They're doing it. Here's another one. A Brazilian listed company is putting $28 million of Bitcoin in their treasury. One after another, after another, after another, after another. This is going to add up to something. You're not just going to have endless accumulation and nothing happens. No, because of the scarcity factor, there's only limited amount of supply out there. This is all adding up, which is why Tom Lee, let's listen to what he has to say about Bitcoin in the next coming years. 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 In the next coming. Oops. All right, let's play this.
I mean, Bitcoin is a little bit like a Swiss Army knife because it really does meet the fact that it's a risk-on asset, but it's a network value asset. And I think that as more people adopt Bitcoin, it still explains most of the increase in price. And of course, it's a great safe haven asset. I mean, I think for the next 10 years, I think the easiest way to think of Bitcoin is that it should have the same network value as gold. And gold, if it's a $23-30 trillion asset, that means Bitcoin should be at least $1 million, $1.5 million per Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm. People would love to hear that.
$1 million to $1.5 million for each Bitcoin. That's where it's going. Just to equal the market cap of gold. There's a lot more gold out there than there is Bitcoin. And to equal the market cap of gold, each Bitcoin is going to go to 1 to 1.5 million. And that's only the beginning. Saylor believes Bitcoin will eventually go to 13 million. So don't think the gains are limited with Bitcoin. A lot more gains. This is within the next 10 years. And it could be sooner than that. And even JP Morgan says Bitcoin is going to outshine gold in the second half of 2025. And over the course of any extended period, it's not even close. Bitcoin outshines gold in any period, really, with the exception of maybe like, you know, during consolidation periods or crypto winter, yes, maybe gold outshines Bitcoin. But if you go back any sort of like period, long period, I guess, extended period, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, it's not even close. Bitcoin outshines, which is the reason why so many are embracing Bitcoin. It's a great store of value. It's an awesome medium exchange, and it's the best hedge against inflation because nothing outperforms Bitcoin on a long period, over a long course. Nothing. But before we hit $1.5 million, what is the high of this cycle? Well, there's a couple points here. 2 key levels to watch. There's something called a delta top and a terminal price. And both are right around $215,000, $216,000. And these are the points that the last few cycles where Bitcoin topped out at. So it was accurate 3 times before. Is it going to be accurate this time once again? No reason to think no. Sorry, I got a whole lot of people just like DMing me nonstop here. All right. Outside of that, let's see. What else is there? We got some Solana news. MetaMask confirms they are bringing native Solana support to MetaMask. Obviously, because Sol is getting very, 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 very popular. And then you got other wallet makers like Phantom that's really doing well, right? So MetaMask has to respond. They're going beyond EVM, and they want to embrace Sol and actually, you know, their dApp store and everything else, NFTs and stuff. They want to fully embrace them. So that's coming up very, very soon. And also, the meme coin race is heating up. They're so I didn't even know this. I know Radium, Jupiter launched their own like meme coin launchers, but I didn't know there was others already. There are a lot of others that already exist. There's something called Let's Bonk, Believe, Launch Lab, in addition to Pump.Fun, and they've been stealing market share. So as the market heats up, meme coins are going to heat up, and that is why Solana is dominating in revenue and transactions and volume in everything. So, looking forward to it. All right. That's pretty much it. Let's see. Today, you got Coinbase skyrocketing still, up 5%. They will be listed on S&P 500 next week. That's going to be big. But they're still nowhere close to their IPO price. I think they debuted at like 400, so they're still nowhere close to that. But maybe after S&P 500 listing, they will. Robinhood is going upwards as well. I'm glad to see that. And MicroStrategy not doing well today, but still close to 400. Bitcoin coming right back up to 104. Not too bad. All right, let's do some Q&A. Record Connect. I have no take on Toshi. Zero take on Toshi. It's a meme coin, right? Yeah. It's a meme coin on base, so that makes it less desirable. Can you do a poll on how many people have one BTC? I've done that before. It's way less than you think, Keith. It is way less than you think. Very little amount of people have one Bitcoin. In fact, most people in live chat is nowhere close. Most people in live chat hold alts. Max says, love the NBA content, F the haters. Well, I appreciate that. I enjoyed watching Denver win yesterday. I can't stand OKC. I can't stand Shea. I just can't watch him. He's just so awkward looking when he plays too. I'm really rooting for Denver to win. I'm rooting for Jokic to win. He should have won MVP. I don't know why he didn't win. Tiger Worldwide. And then Tiger Worldwide in quotes. Why do you have to say it twice? Do you think that maybe people are selling other ETFs to buy into BlackRock ETF because they think it's better? But why do they think it's better? It's the same kind of fees. Do you think a normal person would sell off their Fidelity Bitcoin ETF or BlackRock's ETF when the fees are the same? I don't think so. I don't think there's any compelling reason. Unless BlackRock is offering something different that we don't know, right? Maybe there's some other behind the scenes kind of benefit for like institutions or something like that. Maybe there's something like that that's happening. But for retail, like if you have your 401k with Fidelity's, I don't even know what their symbol is, but with Fidelity's Bitcoin ETF versus BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF is the same kind of fees. There's no difference. Mike G, hey, appreciate that super chat, man. Yeah, I thought yesterday's ChatGPT was pretty good. You know, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Like I said, ChatGPT is not perfect, but man, it could do some crazy analysis really quickly. What I showed within like 12 minutes probably would have taken a person at least 1 hour to do, if not more. Especially the part where it was comparing all the alts, because I compared like 5 alts, and it like compared them so quickly. It was able to calculate like 10 different signals, apply them to them all, and then compare them all. Like that alone probably would have taken a few hours, and it did that in like minutes. So if like pure computation, you can't beat it. Going in the future, it's all about how you use the tools, right? It's just like when Google came out and people were still using the library. It's like you could get things done a lot faster with Google if you just knew how to use it. It's going to be the same thing with AI. People that know how to use it will get a lot more done. A blank super chat. Appreciate it. Yeah, Grok. There's nothing wrong with Grok. It's free if you have that blue check mark. Um, but I like ChatGPT because it has memory. It remembers your conversations, so you can always refer back to what you have talked to it before with, and it'll make suggestions and stuff like that. But Grok is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Did you get your 3D printer? I got a lot of 3D printers. I have 3 of them. I've been actually making good sales in my Etsy store. Like 3 sales every day now. Not that I'm making any money. It's just for fun. It's just something to pass the time for the family. But it's picking up now. Celine, BlackRock isn't buying a truckload of ETH. There's actually a truckload of outflows. Well, it's not. I'll take that back. It's not a truckload of outflows, but they're not buying a truckload of inflows either. And there are truckloads of outflows from the other funds. But, I do believe you are right. Having an ETF is a big deal. I made this argument with Sol and XRP and others. When they get their ETFs in a bull market, it's going to be very advantageous. I think it's the same with ETH. When the bull market really hits for alts, ETH ETF will help it. Right now, it's not. And when it first debuted, it didn't, because Grayscale was just selling off all their ETH, just like they were selling off all their Bitcoin too. But when the bull market, when like altcoin season really hit, I do think ETH ETF will help for sure. Perplexity AI is better for research and finance. I think it's $25 a month. Never heard of it, but I could give it a try. I'm paying like the crazy amount on ChatGPT right now because I'm using O3. O3 is like their best model, very limited. If you're paying for like Plus, you can only use it like 10 times a month or something like that. I'm paying for their Pro so I could get unlimited use. I'll try the other ones. I never heard of Perplexity. I use Gemini too. Gemini's just not as good. I think the memory feature is what's a game changer for AI to remember your previous conversations. Do I believe we're in alt season? No, not right now. Alts will go up ultimately because Bitcoin carries everything, but are we in true altcoin season? No. No, we are not. which means things are going to get much better. But asterisks, I don't think our coming altcoin season is going to be like the previous altcoin seasons. I don't think it's going to be everything's going to skyrocket to the moon. It'll be selective few. Do you think ETH can hit 10K this cycle? I have a hard time seeing it, but it could happen. I mean, ETH's previous top was 4K. So to do basically a double from the previous high, can that happen? I think so. I think it could. Brilliant Being, in your ChatGPT episode, you selected specific indicators, but wouldn't ChatGPT have selected them and more anyways? I didn't select those. I let it select it. I said the 10 most popular ones, and it selected itself, and then I said 10 signals that Wall Street uses, and it selected those. So I didn't tell it ahead of time to use any indicators, or not any of my preference. Have I ever tried leverage trading using ChatGPT? It's not fast enough, and it's, you know, it gives you a percentage. It's not like it's 100% accurate, right? It tells you like, okay, this is a 60% chance of this, 55% chance of this, 30% chance of this. So it's like, it's not like it's telling you, okay, within the next hour, there's a 100% chance of this happening. It's not going to tell you that. So it's not a great. I don't think if it's really that good, I think it's a good swing trade tool. It's not going to be a, you know, day trade tool, right? But let's see how accurate it is. If you guys didn't watch it yesterday. How accurate it is for this weekend. It made some bold predictions for this weekend. If we can close above 104 today, it believes we will go to between 107 and 109 for Bitcoin by Sunday. By the end of Sunday. And it made some bold predictions about some alts too. But, you know, this is very short term, right? So I don't, you know, short term stuff changes very rapidly. So don't know if it's that accurate. No, I'm not going to use DeepSeek. You know, DeepSeek for sure is being tracked by China, so I rather not. I use TikTok enough, so they already track that. I don't need them to track me on DeepSeek. It's like I just accepted the fact that, okay, if they track me on TikTok, like, so what? You know, if they track me watching like basketball clips or comedy clips or whatever, like, who gives a F? Like, I don't care. But, you know, with what you ask and say to AI, that's a little different. US tracks all of us. Does it really matter? I still think it's a bit different when US tracks versus China tracks. You know, I don't know. I just tend to think that there's still a bit more responsibility with the US companies. I know like Google tracks. The very fact that you guys are in here chatting on this YouTube channel and in this live chat, you know, Google's tracking all of that. Google is recording every single thing that you're typing. Google reads every email that comes through Gmail. Google tracks every single search that you do, and targets ads against you. So, you know, we kind of just all accepted that. Same thing with any social media. They track your behavior and they target ads and merchandise and products, you know, against you. You are the product to social media. The customers are actually the advertisers when it comes to social media. It's actually really weird if you think about it. It's actually pretty damning if you think about it, but we just kind of accept it because there's no other alternative. You know, how many times have you guys like you're out with a friend or a family or whatever, and they bring up something that you have never ever ever searched for or even thought of? I don't know, just out of the blue. Let's say like someone says, "Hey, you know, the other day I was searching for some I don't know, a blue Ford Explorer or something like that, because I'm shopping for SUVs. Let's say it's a car that you've never considered and ever searched for before, and then 10 minutes later you go on Google or you go on Facebook, and all of a sudden you see an ad about a Ford Explorer. Like, how many times have that happened to you? It's like your phone actually turns on its microphone and listens to you. I don't even know how you turn that off, but that for sure that happens. It's like it happens all the time. Like you get an ad based on like something you're saying in a conversation. It's not a coincidence. That happened way, way, way more often than not. Charles, welcome. Do they track my fetch results? I'm sure they do, Cam. I'm sure they do. You could turn off in Google settings. I'm gonna have to look at that. I've searched for that before. Yeah, Nick, that is 100% right. Like Alexa, Android, Siri, all those. When you say "Hey Alexa," right? It is listening all the time. Otherwise, it can't respond to commands. I've heard I heard stories like the FBI, like in murder situations, they would subpoena like Amazon to try to get recordings off their Alexa or something like that because it does record um, all the time. But they have to subpoena that with a legit reason. So those things are recording all the time. I just don't know like um, if there's like an interval or something like that. How do I like Aptos? I'm neutral. I think they're promising. Just don't hear a lot about them. Richard, XRP has not been performing well. It's been going down. Not really. No, it has not been going down. It's just been going sideways. Like almost every alt. How low do you think Bitcoin dominance will go this bull run? I don't know. You look at previous dominance and you make an educated guess. It hasn't really gone down at all. I don't know. Alt dominance is dirt low. Alt dominance right now is at 9%. It's as low as basically as possible. That's really low. ETH dominance is still very low too. ETH dominance has been going down, 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 down. Alt dominance has been going down even more. Bitcoin dominance is still rising. I don't think that's going to stop until we go into the 70s possibly. I don't have any thoughts on Aether, Christian. Way too many people got into that. A lot of KOLs got into that. I like the way this looks. CMC over time has updated a lot of their charts and stuff. This is way, way better than what it used to be. Before, it's like you could hardly tell what was going on. This looks really good. All right, guys. I guess that's it. Overall, today not bad. We're hanging in there to start out the day, but it'll be interesting. There is a big futures expiration today. I think it's like right around 3 p.m. today when everything expires. But we do have a lot of goodness. A lot of goodness when it comes to Bitcoin, Bitcoin adoption. So, do not miss out, guys. Do not miss out. Enjoy your weekend. I'll put out a Sunday walk video. I may put out something tomorrow, but I do want to a recap video not a recap video. I wanted to revisit these predictions from ChatGPT and see how it is next week. So it'll be interesting. All right. That's it, guys. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys next week, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time on Monday. All right. Have a good one. Take care.